Welcome to Neat Runs. Today we're going to be exploring Chouteau Island and the Chain of Rocks Bridge. This is one of the most underrated outdoor adventure spots in the St. Louis area, and there's a lot to see. But before we get started, just a few housekeeping items. First, make sure you're watching this video in the highest quality level possible. Do a quick check right now to make sure you're streaming this video in 4K resolution. All of my videos are uploaded to YouTube in 4K quality, and I think it really makes a difference. Second, if you've enjoyed Neat Runs videos in the past, or if you enjoy this video, like the video and subscribe to the channel. This helps YouTube's algorithms to spread the videos to as many people as possible. Let's get into the adventure. Chouteau Island is in Madison County, Illinois, and is a 3,200-acre island bordered by the Mississippi River and the Chain of Rocks Canal. Cars can access the island by driving over this one-lane bridge on the Illinois side, but runners and bikers can access the island by crossing the old Chain of Rocks Bridge from Missouri. The old Chain of Rocks Bridge is probably the island's most famous attraction. The bridge crosses the Mississippi River and is closed to vehicles. It has excellent views of the river, which we're going to see shortly. Most people in the area have visited the old Chain of Rocks Bridge at one point or another, but the island has many lesser-known features. For example, the island is home to a multitude of both bike trails and wooded hiking trails. Many of the trails on the island go unmaintained though, and they're very difficult to navigate. Also, there's a beach that goes alongside the Mississippi River next to a man-made river dam down below the Chain of Rocks Bridge. It was my goal to explore all of this. After checking out the various trail maps and the Route 66 sign, I set out across the bridge to start my run. I would start by running the distance of the Chain of Rocks Bridge so that I could take in the stunning views of the river. Next, I would venture down and explore the beach by the low water dam. And finally, I would try my luck at exploring the unmaintained trails that run underneath the Chain of Rocks Bridge. As you progress on the bridge, you see some great views of the Mississippi River. Truly unparalleled views. Here you can see the beach area and the low water dam, which we're going to be running down to and exploring in just a little while. And to the north, you can see the new Chain of Rocks Bridge, aka Highway 270. One of the coolest views here on the river are these two building-like structures out in the middle of the Mississippi. These two structures are water intake towers for a St. Louis water treatment plant. Water flows into these two intakes and eventually gets used as a part of St. Louis's water supply. One of the two towers is out of operation, but serves as a backup in case the other one stops working. In the past, maintenance crews would camp out in the structures as they worked on the intakes. As you get about 3/4 of the way across the bridge, you'll see some of this Route 66 memorabilia. The Chain of Rocks Bridge is a part of the historic Route 66, and that is a fact that you will not forget when you're out here. They've put Route 66 on just about everything. Makes for some cool scenery. Here we are at the west end of the old Chain of Rocks Bridge. This is where you can access Chouteau Island from the Missouri side. The parking lot is closed for some reason, so it was looking a little bit like a ghost town. Over here, just to the south of the bridge, we find the official Chain of Rocks Bridge rest area. The rest area has some historic photos about the Chain of Rocks Bridge and about the area, and also a restroom. This is also where you can hop on the Great Rivers Greenway Riverfront Trail, which you can follow about 8 miles south to the St. Louis Arch. The old Chain of Rocks Bridge is a great enabler of many running and cycling loops that connect the Missouri Great Rivers Greenway trails to the Illinois Madison County Transit bike trails. Now it's time to head back across the bridge. The next stop is the Chouteau Island Riverfront Low Water Dam and the beach. The bridge is really fun to run across. It's about 1 mile each way, so a round trip down and back is about 2 miles. It isn't totally flat either. There's a big uphill as you start from the west side here, and it reaches its peak right around where you can see those water intake towers. It is definitely fun to run here, but I think I see the Chain of Rocks Bridge more as a great sightseeing route more than a great running route. You can definitely build out a run here by going down to the beach like I do, or incorporating the bike trails on Chouteau Island, or perhaps the Great Rivers Greenway trails, but you're going to have to do a little work to find some extra miles, because 2 miles down and back just doesn't cut it. In order to get down to the riverfront, I headed out the way that I came in. Then the first right takes you down to the dam. This road didn't have any bike lanes, but cars do go pretty slow because there's a lot of speed bumps. I did spot this shortcut that a pedestrian could take to connect the bridge parking lot and the lower portion. I'll use that on the way back up. Here we are at the riverfront. The low water dam is right in front of us, next to these big barrels that you can walk out on. Then to the left, you can see the beach. The low water dam is a man-made structure put in during the 40s. Its purpose is to keep the water level optimal for the operational use of the Chain of Rocks Canal. This portion of the Mississippi River was very dangerous for boats and barges to navigate. There are many rocky ledges that span a 17-mile stretch of the Mississippi called the Chain of Rocks Reach. Because of this dangerous stretch, the Chain of Rocks Canal was created as a bypass. These rocky ledges are where the Chain of Rocks Bridge gets its name. Here we are at the beach. This is one of the few places in Missouri where you can really get that beach run experience. It really reminds me of running along the ocean in Florida or Mexico. You get that extra calf muscle workout of pushing off of loose sand. If you plan to run on the beach and also on the bridge or some of the trails, be sure to wear dynamic footwear. I wore trail shoes because I knew I'd be doing some miles down here on the beach as well as running the trails underneath the bridge. But it wasn't the best choice for the moments where I was up on the paved bridge. This beach was a fun stretch to run. I made it about half a mile out before I decided to turn back. I've gone further in the past, but water levels today made it kind of muddy, so I decided to turn around. Next, I wanted to start exploring some of the unkept trails underneath the bridge. But before I did that, I wanted to check out the lower platform by the dam. I set out for the first area of trails that I wanted to explore. The first trails are just to the north of the parking area by the dam. I took the harder route. There's a lot of rocks to climb over down here, and it's actually much easier to access this by just exiting north from the parking lot. You could still find many trail maps out in the wooded areas. This one was beat up and bent out of shape, but I could see my location and I was scouting out where I wanted to explore. This portion of the trail starts right at the dam parking lot and heads up north towards the Chain of Rocks Bridge. The trail stops right underneath the bridge. It was extremely difficult to follow this trail, but I did manage to keep track of it. The December lack of foliage definitely helped here. In the summer, this may not have been possible. Here is the first information kiosk. You can see it is in great shape. One of the things that you'll notice around here is that there is a bunch of litter all over the wooded areas and all over the trails. I think it's because the water levels of the river rise and fall, so any trash that's floating out in the river gets left on the shore. It's probably also one of the reasons that the trails are so out of shape. If they're constantly being washed over by the river, it's probably a pain maintenance-wise. Looks like I could have kept heading north here if I wanted, but I wanted to go check out the other trails up closer to the bridge, so I headed back. Here's that shortcut that I found on the way down. This worked well in the winter time, not sure how well it would work in the summer. It seems like this grass might grow pretty tall. Back up at the Chain of Rocks Bridge parking lot, I headed to the trail entrance to the right of the bridge. I made an effort to remember the direction that the trail went because I knew it was going to be tough to follow once I got down there. Once you get to the lower section of the trail, it immediately becomes difficult to find where the trail is and where the trail isn't. I just happened to see an information kiosk out in the distance, so I headed towards that. kiosk is in just as great a condition as the other one. And I found yet another trail map, which reassured me I wasn't too far off course yet. I decided to head out on this loop that heads north away from the bridge. Would I be able to follow the trail? No idea. I wasn't all that worried about getting lost though. The treetops were very sparse and I was confident that wherever I went I would be able to see the bridge, which I could use to find my way back if I needed. Eventually, I came up to this open area in the north. The trail totally disappeared, but I was able to find this lone bench. Kind of a neat post-apocalyptic view of the bridge from this barren, remote area. One thing that was kind of gross, though, that there was definitely a lot of trash all over the place. I think from the water levels rising and falling, like I mentioned earlier. There was a couple dead fish in my feet as I walked around up here. This area definitely gets submerged whenever the water level rises. Would I recommend trying to explore these trails? Not unless you're super into off-trail adventuring. It's definitely not good for trail running, that's for sure. If you're feeling very adventurous though, you could probably use GPS and find the trails. But it's very unpredictable. As I mentioned earlier, I'm not even sure if this would be possible in the summertime when everything's overgrown. I managed to stumble back to that area right up underneath the bridge again. The trail was really nowhere to be found. The further west I went, the muddier it got, so I just decided to call it a day and head out of the woods. So that concludes my adventure at Chouteau Island. I really enjoyed exploring here. There's definitely a lot to see. Between the bridge, the dam, and the beach, I would recommend coming out here and taking an afternoon to see all the sights. The bridge is definitely one of the best outdoors attractions in the St. Louis area. You do not get views like this very many other places. The trails, on the other hand, are unkept and extremely hard to follow. So proceed with caution if you go on those. But, maybe there are some better trails that I'm not aware of. There's also many miles of bike trails on the island which I did not explore in this video. Let me know in the comments if I missed anything notable. As I mentioned earlier, please like and subscribe. It helps the channel and it helps spread the videos. And as always, thank you for watching.